On this episode of the Hanford Insider, Katelind Donahue shares the vision for her new project for aspiring writers, the Writers Haven. We'll get a look at some of this week's community events, and I'll be back with your sports report. This is the Hanford Insider for Monday, February 9th.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Hanford Insider Podcast, your inside look at the people, places, and stories that make Hanford such a special place to call home. I'm your host, Rob Bentley, and each week we shine a spotlight on our community, celebrate local successes, and share what's happening around town. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. In community news, congratulations to Chris Tavares, our new Hanford City Manager, on his official swearing-in ceremony last Thursday evening. The council chamber was packed with family, friends, and colleagues to celebrate this special occasion with him. We'll have him on the show in a few weeks. The next Hanford City Council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 17th. Main Street Hanford announced last week that they're going to be installing outdoor speakers downtown along Irwin, Douty, and 7th Streets this spring. Very soon, music will be filling the streets, creating a lively and welcoming atmosphere for shoppers and diners and the businesses that call downtown Hanford home. This enhancement is part of Main Street's efforts to activate public spaces, elevate the downtown experience, and make historic downtown Hanford an even more vibrant place to gather, stroll, and stay. The Hanford Joint Union High School District recently announced their Employees of the Year. The Administrator of the Year is Hanford High School Principal Darren Parson. The Teacher of the Year is Luis Garcia. And the Classified Employee of the Year is Danielle Augusto. Congratulations to all of these fine educators. Now let's take a look at this week's community calendar. This Friday, February 13th, the movie Valentine's Day will be showing at the Hanford Fox Theater. For tickets and information, visit foxhanford.com. The Little Brick Theater also has some great events coming up. Be sure to check out their website at mtchanford.com. The Carnegie Museum of Kings County's 2026 exhibition, Building Kings County, opens on February 21st. Learn more at carnegiemuseumofkingscounty.org. The Hanford Toy Anime Comic Con will be held at the Hanford Fraternal Hall on Sunday, February 22nd. If you have an event coming up, large or small, and you'd like some help getting the word out, let's work together. Send your information to hanfordinsider@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter to get a complete calendar of events. It's the most comprehensive community calendar available. I'm really excited for this episode because we have a local author, Katelind Donahue, and she is a lover of reading and writing, and I'm so excited that she's here to share her Writer's Haven with you. So welcome to the show, Katelind.
Thank you for having me.
Katelind, you have been promoting your Writer's Haven on social media, which is fantastic. We'll get into that in just a minute. But I was wondering if you could tell me, being raised in Hanford, you had Hanford schooling, you went through Hanford schools. So can you give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, I grew up in Hanford my whole life. I went to Woodrow, that's where I found my love of reading and writing. It was when we were taken to the library and were able to pick out whatever book we wanted. I remember picking up Vampire Academy from Rochelle Mead, and I fell in love with that series. And that grew my love of reading. Eventually, my mom started getting into reading, so it's something that we did together. And I always loved telling stories. So anytime we had something to write, and they wanted us to just share something in class, I loved that part of just storytelling. My mom would never get mad at me when I was little, when I would basically lie. But she was like, no, she's just telling stories, because I would elaborate a lot. Mm-hmm. But she's like, no, you're going to be an author one day. My mom was always telling me, you're going to be an author one day. You're going to write amazing books. You're going to sell amazing books. because of just how elaborate I would get. And I'd be like, oh yeah, there was fairies that came. And she's like, I know you're lying, but I love the imagination.
Well, that's great. So you're actually currently a student. You're taking some classes, and you have had a lot of experience and obviously love of reading and writing. And when you started the Writer's Haven, I understand you weren't exactly sure what it was going to be or who would even be interested. So tell us a little bit about the Writer's Haven and how it came about.
Yeah, I was joining online groups on YouTube, sometimes Patreon, just to do some writing sprints with people online. Eventually, I wanted to just bring it to the community. I was looking all the time to find anywhere that was having writer groups, even just, little workshops, but I wasn't finding that local. I would find it in Fresno and Visalia, but I wanted something here. So when I seen that gap, I really started thinking about it. I fell in love with community. I wanted to bring the community together, especially since writing is so solitary. So eventually I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I tried to think of a name, and I was going through a list of names. But in my Google Docs, my drive name for my book that I'm currently writing is Bookhaven. So I was like, well, makes sense. Switch it over.
Right.
Writer's Haven. We're writing it. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to launch it. Whoever shows up, shows up. I contacted one other author that I knew locally, Garrett, and I was like, hey, I'm having this thing. Will you come to the first one and maybe speak? I don't know who's going to be there. Could just be me and you. And he was in. So I made a flyer, posted on Facebook, and I was like, well, whoever comes, comes. And people signed up. Our first day we launched, we had 13 people. And now we do it every other Saturday. And we have about 6 to 10 people show up every time, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Sometimes it's people who are repeats, and other times they one-time show. And I'm like, okay, like they got their writing in. It's just really about being in community, having that time to write, because everyone says they never have time to write. But in that 2-hour block, 10 to 12, you have that time. And I just want to make sure that people are being creative and having an open space to do that.
And where do you hold this?
I hold it at Starbucks, 550 West Lacey. They have a conference room in there. It seats 15 to 18 people. So we just show up every other Saturday and we get to writing. It's a closed room. You don't hear much noise, but I do tell people if you want to listen to music while writing, because that's where I get in my zone, bring your AirPods, listen to some music. We do ask that they turn off their music at Starbucks because it can be quite loud. And they thankfully do it for us. So then we have our hot coffee, cozy room, we get to writing, and then we can chit chat.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit, and I want to hear your heart because in this day of social media and instant consumption and TikTok videos are 30 seconds, the focus that it takes to be a writer and the inspiration it takes to be a writer, how do you feel about what writing does for you personally? How does it allow you to grow?
Yeah. I've been specifically writing my book called Project Raven's Oath since I was 15. It's changed over time completely. It's not what it was at first. But writing for me, especially when I'm really stressed out with school, work, or anything in between, it's something that everyone says to go exercise when they need to fix their mental health. Do that. But writing is that for me. Whatever stress I'm feeling, I can go put that into a fight scene in my book, and that's therapeutic for me. I'm not a big fan of the whole TikTok thing. I know that's my generation, but that's not something that I like to fall into because writing does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, editing, developing characters, world building. That all takes time, especially if you're doing fantasy novels. You have to make your own magic system if that's something that's in your book. So for me, it's very therapeutic. I love living in my characters' worlds. And if you're not in the creative space and you don't know writing and getting into that space, you probably think I'm a little crazy. But I love falling in love with my characters. Each character is different. Each one has a different attitude. They speak differently. It's such a beautiful thing to discover your characters through writing.
Mm-hmm. Certainly, and it's a shame. I've worked in education for 36 years, and I've seen the Chromebooks, and the teachers will sit down and okay, open up your Chromebook and write this paragraph for everything. We don't have the art of handwriting as much anymore. So what's your feeling about handwriting versus, just plopping it out on the computer?
Yeah, most of my writing is done on the computer, but right now, I have switched over to a notebook. I'm making a journal for my main character to kind of journal her thoughts, which, of course, people who are not in the writing space probably think that's crazy. But I think handwriting, you get to just experience it different. You remember a lot more what happens in the book when you're writing it by hand versus typing it out, because sometimes I have no idea what I just typed out and I have to go back and reread it, and I was like, oh, that's a little odd. I think pen to paper is still the best way to write anything. Most of my ideas come up during work hours, and I'm over here writing on a scratch piece of paper and I throw it in my bag really quickly.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with handwriting because as a historian, I'll go back and look at recipe books. I recently did an episode on Macanio's Bakery, and I was thumbing through some of the recipe books, but it was amazing how they added their own little spin on recipes, but the handwriting was so beautiful, and it's just a lost art. So definitely that's great that, people can have both of those experiences. I understand you also have a podcast as well, yeah?
Yes, I have a podcast. It's called Garden of Honey. People can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcast. It is a Christian podcast where I talk about God, prayer life. Right now, I'm developing episodes based on psychology, emotional regulation, trauma, and bringing God into the mix. So that's something that's coming up. Don't know exactly when, but it's going to be there. So that's the podcast that I run. It's kind of just bringing hope and healing to anyone who's listening. That's my hope, at least. Mm-hmm. It's about 15, 20 minutes per episode, so nothing too long.
Yeah. You're available. You've got an active social media account. You mentioned Facebook. I know you're also active on Instagram. Can you give us those usernames, handles, so that we can find you?
Yeah, my Instagram is KD_Donahue_writes. And my Facebook is Katelind Donahue. You can usually just find me on my writer's Instagram. That's where I post all of our writing meetings, anything extra that's coming up. Eventually, I will be hosting live sessions via Zoom or Google Meets. That's probably going to be happening after I graduate. Mm-hmm. So sometime in May or June, that will be launching. So if you're not in the local area, but you still want to join our writing group, we'll probably have that on a Friday night, and so you can join in.
Yeah, and that's great. For those of you not on social media, Caitlin's given me permission to share her email address with you, so you can go ahead and email me at hanfordinsider@gmail.com and ask for Caitlin's contact information. I'll be happy to share that with you so that maybe you can join her and her friends at the Writers Haven at the Starbucks at 11th and Lacey. Katelind, thank you for coming on the show. This has been so awesome, and I can't wait to see some of the work that your writers produce.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, a lot of them are almost ready to query an agent. Some of them have published book 6. Some of them are newbie writers doing draft 1. So we're all in different stages, but we would love to have anyone come by, even if it's just one session. We would love to have you.
And now it's time for Hanford Insider Sports with Eric Bentley.
Playoff brackets will be released midweek with first-round games this Friday and Saturday. But there's one more chance for teams to improve their resume in the regular season. Let's see where everyone stands with one game to play. We'll start with Sierra Pacific. The girls' basketball team sits at 15-12 overall, having won 3 in a row. A game up on Kerman for second place in the Tri-County Kings League. The Golden Bears will travel to play the Lions on Wednesday to close out their regular season. The Sierra Pacific boys basketball team finished third in the Tri-County Kings League, and at 14-13 overall, the Golden Bears will look to snap a 3-game skid in their season finale at Hanford West on Tuesday. The Sierra Pacific boys soccer team already clinched the Tri-County Sequoia League title with 1 game to play. With a 9-7-6 overall record, the Golden Bears will have their final regular season game at Hanford West on Wednesday. And the Sierra Pacific girls soccer team sits at 8-7-5 overall and are all but guaranteed a third-place Tri-County Kings League finish, as they'll host Kerman on Tuesday to close out their regular season. Over to Hanford High, where the boys basketball team is 12-16 overall and a game back of Lemoore and Tulare Union for first place in the WIL. The Bullpups will host Lemoore on Tuesday. A win in that game and a Tulare Union loss to Tulare Western could give the Bullpups a shot at a WIL title through tiebreakers. The Hanford High girls soccer team is still alive for a WIL title after taking down Tulare Western last week. With the Bullpups and the Mustangs both at 8-1 in league action, Hanford High needs to beat Lemoore on Tuesday and hope for a Tulare Western loss, or else the league title would come down to a tiebreaker. The Hanford High boys soccer team will more than likely be paying very close attention later this week to see if their name is called for playoff action. At 5-6-7 overall, one final chance to make their case on the pitch Tuesday versus Lemoore. And the Hanford High girls basketball team at 6-21 overall will close out their season this Tuesday at Lemoore. Now for Hanford West, where the Huskies have struggled across the board over the winter. The girls soccer team has won 7 games this season and could play spoiler and make it 8 on Tuesday against Washington Union. The girls basketball team picked up 6 wins on the year and will take on Emmanuel in their season finale Wednesday. The boys basketball team has won 3 games this year and will finish their season hosting Sierra Pacific on Tuesday. And the boys soccer team has only picked up 2 wins on the year, closing out their year hosting Sierra Pacific on Wednesday. On next week's show, we'll have winter playoff updates, and 2 weeks from now, we'll have our first baseball and softball updates. As always, if you have a score report or a team update from any level, please let us know by emailing hanfordinsider@gmail.com. I'm Eric Bentley, and this has been your Hanford Insider Sports Report.
And that wraps things up for this week's show. If you enjoyed this podcast and you'd like to show your support, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Hanford Insider to make a donation. If you'd like to join the Hanford Insider email list, stop by my website at hanfordinsider.com to sign up for updates. You'll also get an exclusive copy of my newsletter in your inbox each week. I also need your help getting the word out about the show by liking and sharing on social media, or, like most people, just telling a friend. For more information about the show, you can find this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and YouTube at Hanford Insider. If you have a show idea, be sure to email me at hanfordinsider@gmail.com and I'll look into it. Thanks for being part of the Hanford Insider podcast family. Have a fantastic week. And that wraps things up for this week's show. Join me next week for a candid conversation with local writer Katelind Donahue about the Writers Haven Project. If you enjoy this podcast and you'd like to show your support, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Hanford Insider to make a donation. If you'd like to join the Hanford Insider email list, stop by my website at hanfordinsider.com to sign up for updates. You'll also get an exclusive copy of my newsletter in your inbox each week. I also need your help getting the word out about the show by liking and sharing on social media or telling a friend. For more information about the show, you can find this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and YouTube at Hanford Insider. If you have a show idea, be sure to email me at hanfordinsider@gmail.com and I'll look into it. Thanks for being a part of the Hanford Insider podcast family. Have a fantastic week.